Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.
Welcome to Peter and Roughie's Football Show, sponsored by Arnold Clark. I'm Peter Martin. It is Monday. Thank you very much for joining us on the programme. In the studio this Monday, we have Alan Rough, Hugh MacDonald and Barry Ferguson. We'll look back over the weekend's Premiership fixtures and ahead to some cracking Europa League for Celtic and Rangers. Yeah, lots to talk about on the programme. Of course, wintry conditions, the wind playing havoc, the rain, of course, as well, with some of the fixtures that fell foul of the weather on the Saturday. Rangers acted quickly to move the game to the Sunday against Livingston, and in the end, over 90 minutes, they eventually triumphed by a 1-0. It was close, but in these games, Barry, I'm sure Steven Gerrard just wants to get the job done. Yeah, that's what it was all about, getting the 3 points. Performance wasn't great, but you've got to put that down to the conditions were horrendous, Peter. The wind and the rain and the pitch was really heavy. So I think the main thing for the manager and the players was, at the end of the game, making sure that they got that 3 points on the board, because obviously the start, since I've come back for the winter break, the performances and results haven't been up to scratch. Yeah, and the manager far from happy with the referee.
Disappointed in the officials today, I must say. I think when they look at their performance back, I think they'll be disappointed. But Morelos' one's onside, and there's a stonewall penalty. Now, I don't like talking about officials, especially after a defeat, because you can look like the violin's out or you're looking for excuses. But after a win, I think the timing's right. I must say I was disappointed in them today.
Did he have a point, Hugh MacDonald?
Absolutely. I think the refereeing, not just for Rangers, but the refereeing's been poor this season, and big decisions as well. It's all right saying they only got a couple of decisions wrong, but the decisions that changes the flow of the match, and I think Rangers actually suffered pretty badly. I mean, the narrative from the Kilmarnock game was what a blow to their title hopes, and it was. There was a couple of really dicey decisions in that game as well. Yeah, the last thing you want, Roughie, especially in a run-in where it's head-to-head, OK, there may be a points difference, but the last thing you want is a group of fans thinking that refereeing decision cost us any chance of closing the gap on Celtic.
Well, I thought it was the linesman. It was the linesman that stuck his flag up for the offside decisions. I think the Canberra one marginally was maybe off, the Morelos one wasn't. And it won nothing in the pressure stakes that are going on now. You need these decisions to put you in a comfort zone, because Livingston did have a couple of chances. They want Alan McGregor, wonderful save, and the one that hit the post. So I can see why the manager's really upset about it, because if any of them had went in, I think he would have blown a gasket. Yeah, well, Dykes hit the post. That was very close to giving Livingston a point at Ibrox, and their manager, Gary Holt, was thinking to himself, we're worthy of it.
Considering the condition, I thought it was a really good game of football between two sides bang at it. I think both teams knew it wasn't going to be pretty, considering the wind and when the rain came down as well, but I thought both teams coped with it really well. It was a good game of football, and disappointed we never came away with something out of the game, simple as that.
Yeah, Gary Holt there reflecting on a 1-0 defeat. Rangers with that win. Still 10 points the difference. They have a game in hand against St Johnstone. They've got a run of matches coming up. Braga on the Thursday, then St Johnstone before going back for Braga. But for me, the key games, Braga away, we'll know exactly what Rangers have to do. Then it's Hearts in the Scottish Cup. And then, of course, all roads lead to March 15th for me will be the defining moment in the season overall, because you'll get a fair reflection, I think, Barry, on where the points difference is and where Rangers are in both cups.
Yeah, but listen, it's a big 3 weeks, but every single week's a big week when you play at a club like Rangers. So I don't think they should be making any differences, because obviously at the start, it all goes back to the start. they've had since the winter break. But look, they've got a bit of break. They've done ever so well in the Europa League. Braga, by all accounts, are doing very well at this moment in time. I think they've only lost 1 game in 9, so that'll be a difficult one. But the main thing is you've got the Scottish Cup game in between, and obviously you've got the big Old Firm game on the 15th of March at home. So as you said, it's a big 3 weeks ahead for this Rangers squad.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think we need to make sure that you have got a good supply of flip-flops all the way through to March, because this could be bumpy. This could be bumpy, Hugh.
Good supply of televisions rather than because the flip-flops are going to be all right. Whatever happens, the flip-flops are going to be fine. It's the television that's a problem.
Yeah, absolutely. And on the with
a bit of passion.
Yeah, well, listen, we love you for your passion. That's the thing about it. We want you to be passionate.
But that's the whole thing. I mean, you couldn't be a football fan and know what. I mean, that's what being a football fan's all about, is watching your team and want to throw a shoot through the telly. That's what it's about. Yeah. That's the passion that grips you. If you don't have that, why watch it in the first place?
Yeah, I agree with you on that. But again, you just mentioned Braga there. Of the two teams with European ties in the Europa League in Scotland, I think Rangers have got the toughest one, because this is a Braga side. Barry's mentioned there, they're unbeaten in 9, 8 wins and a draw, but the scalps that they've taken, they've beaten Benfica, they've beaten Sporting I think twice, and Porto twice. You know, no mean feat in that league.
A good manager as well, new manager coming in, it's imposed ideas that they've picked up very quickly. The interesting thing about, normally you would have said to Braga, you know, the whole Braga thing, you would sit back and say, well, this is the possibly end of Rangers' European journey, which I don't think would be a great tragedy for a lot of people inside it, because they've got other things to concentrate on. But the funny thing about Braga is, if you watch the park on Sunday, I mean, I don't know what the park's going to be like for Rangers this week, because it really is. It could be a difficult night to play football.
Pick up on that, Barry. Do you think Rangers wouldn't be too miffed going out of Europe, bearing in mind how important it is to try and close the gap?
That's a hard one. I always had the mindset of whatever game, whatever tournament you were in, whatever game was coming up, you wanted to try and win. But if you're asking me, of course they want to try and close the gap against Celtic. There's no doubt in my mind, but I think they've had a great European campaign, and look, I know Braga in fine form, but to go through, will it affect them long term? We'd need to see that.
Here's a grenade for you, right? Well, 2008, right?
I know what you're coming. Do you want my excuse?
Would you, if you went out, say, against Panathinaikos or Werder Bremen, would you win the league?
Of course we would have won the league.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about it.
I think it was a backlog of games. Look, I don't care how well you look after yourself, and you know what it's like, the sports science and the way you get looked after.
Yeah.
But the amount of games, the build-up of the games, I mean, guys were just running on empty.
Yeah, and I think the good thing about it is that was 2008, and Scottish football has moved on quite a considerable bit there with accommodating teams with big games coming up. We'll talk about Scotland later on.
Sarcastic today.
I know, I just have to, because we haven't.
Somebody's going to give you a cuddle.
As a country, we're going backwards. We're not helping anybody. You know, we don't help our club football. We don't help our international football. No lessons have been learned from 2008. Believe me, we haven't learned any lessons, and we haven't learned any lessons when you consider the conduct of what's gone on over the last 6 months in Scottish football. I look at the top of the table. Rangers managed to win against Livingston. I'm looking at the top of the table right now, Roughie, and I'm saying to you, Celtic managed a win in what is a difficult place, and I think it's a different Aberdeen side. A bit of form about them now. There's a bit of belief up there at Pittodrie, where I thought they could really do something. They put on a good performance. I don't think they should be criticised, but in the end, the champions come up with a winner.
No, I think anybody who watched the game would have said Aberdeen were good enough to get a point. But again, Celtic came up with the goods from obviously a source that you wouldn't have thought of. You thought it would have been maybe Edward or Griffiths, but lo and behold, it's a big centre-half coming up and a massive run. If you get a chance to see it again, he's went for 18 yard to 18 yard. All right, Considine never picked him up, but it was a quality finish, really quality. You would expect a striker to tuck that away, but it's 3 points, and you could see what it meant to Neil Lennon at the end.
And crucially, Hugh, and I think you've got to take this into consideration, since the break, Celtic have won 9 games in a row, and on that evidence, Roughie thinks they'll slip up over the next couple of months, and Rangers will come back and win the league.
It's like the Grand National. he thinks maybe get brought down at the last by a loose horse.
Yeah, absolutely.
That difficult away fixture.
He's waiting for Foyne-Avon. There's more chance of that happening, but honestly, on the evidence, I'm just giving the stats.
But my position, I always like to wait till the whole arithmetic adds up.
Yeah.
But I think the interesting thing about the Ayer goal is that Celtic won by 5 on Wednesday, and they scored twice up average, so 7 goals, not one of them from the 2 strikers, Griffiths and Edward. And I think that's a very significant thing.
Well, not only that, Hugh, the other significant thing, and I don't need to convince you, because you've already mentioned the strength of the Celtic bench and how they're making the contribution as well. But I give you the manager, who deserves credit, because you as a manager will know this week in, week out with Kelty. He's at a 3-5-2 and he thinks to himself, okay, Greg Taylor's gone off as well. I'll change this. I'll move Ayer out to the right. We'll go 4-4-2. And suddenly, the game changes.
I've got to be honest with you, that's what I like about Neil Lennon. I know he brought Johnny Hayes on. He kept with the same formation, and it was still at 1 each, and he went for a back 3 to a back 4. So he's certainly got a plan B. It's something that they've worked on, Peter. There's no doubt. They've come back and they've went to... I think they look more dangerous with a 3-5-2.
Yep.
But he's not scared to change it.
Yeah.
If it's not working, he'll go back to a 4 at the back and he'll shuffle the pack about, and I quite like that for the manager.
Another thing I like about it as well, he plays to conditions and he plays the way he is. See, the very first game that Neil Lennon came in, I think it was a Hearts game, and he was asked afterwards, about Brendan Rodgers' side, and he had to be very diplomatic, but he made 2 very suggestions. You probably remember that night, Celtic lost a bad penalty with Ayer playing the ball in the box, and he said, we won't play about as much from the back, and we'll try and get crosses into the box quicker. And it's funny that I think it's been overlooked at the weekend. Both Celtic goals at the weekend were literally long balls down the middle from the goalkeeper. There was great skill after that, but and that wouldn't have happened under Rodgers. The goalie was told in no circumstances. It was direct football.
Yeah, you change according to your circumstances.
Exactly. Obviously the conditions weren't ideal. I've seen a few people saying the quality of football, but the wind was all over the place. Yeah. And I noticed that at the start, Fraser Foster at times he will try and play it, but no, he wasn't taking any chances. And you know what? You can't be arrogant at times. You've got to play the conditions, and that's what Celtic done. It wasn't a great performance, and you've got to give Aberdeen a bit of credit as well, because they were decent, but he's not scared to go and change it and go route 1.
Yeah, I'm maybe being a little unkind to Livingston in this, but when I look at the figures, the fixtures all the way to the split now, there are 2 difficult games for me. Away at Easter Road, but before that, away at Ibrox. The rest of the running is a couple against Copenhagen. They've got Kilmarnock at home, St Johnstone in the Cup away, which on the evidence, again, of 30 goals without reply would suggest they're going to go through. Then you've got, Livingston and St Mirren and St Johnstone. Maybe I could throw in Livingston as a tough one on the evidence of them losing there the last time, but that's before the split. If we're going to look and say, okay, Celtic, they've won 9 games in a row, and they're 10 points clear, and Rangers have to win that game against St Johnstone. I'm looking there and I'm saying, where is the collapse coming from? It could be a loss at Ibrox, but elsewhere, I can't see it.
No, look, it's going to be. There's no doubt it's going to be difficult, as you say, but you just don't know. You never know. You've got to hope. And I'm presuming that Rangers will win their game in hand against St Johnstone at Ibrox. I'd like to think they will. It goes down to 7 points, and I think the Old Firm game on the 15th of March is going to be critical. But in the meanwhile, Rangers have got to continue their form.
Yeah, absolutely.
They'll know the form they've been in, but they need to get back to the form they had before the winter shutdown.
Yeah, absolutely. Jack Ross looking for a European spot. That's what he's talking about. That was a good win down at Kilmarnock. What do you consider what's happened, midweek against Rangers?
Yeah, when he came in, he had a couple of stuttering results, but I think that's because the big players were out. I still don't think he's got his back 4 the way he wants it, but he's got players in other positions now who are scoring goals, particularly the 2 strikers, and the boy Boyle is just causing havoc as well. So Stevie Mallin's been out of the equation a wee bit. I think he's identified that he can't play Mallin and Allen, Scott Allen at the same time. I think they're just not similar, but same sort of lightweight players. So he's adjusted in the midfield as well, and he's getting the benefit of it as well.
See the key, I think he had a real good January window. I think a couple of big ones for me was McNulty, who I've always liked.
Yep.
I think he's an out-and-out goal scorer, and a lot of people are forgetting to mention Greg Docherty.
Yeah.
He's come in, and I'll be honest with you, I was really impressed. I watched the Kilmarnock and Hibs game. Great goal. I think that's a couple of goals now. He's added that to his game.
But he's managed to get him in because Mallin picked up an injury. He was forced. His hand was forced as well.
Yeah, but it's been a good signing.
It has been a good
It
signing.
shows you that he's got a good eye for a player, Jack
And
Ross.
I think it as well. It shows that what he wants in the midfield is, Docherty is much more energetic, much more aggressive than Mallin ever is.
Slivka's started to see himself coming back in because he knows he needs a little bit of bite and holding there to try and allow the flair players to go roughie.
Yeah, you're right. That's just what we're saying there. It's all right watching Mallin and Allen. Scott Allen, be nice on the ball and everything, but you're not going to be on the ball all the time. Sometimes you're going to be going back the way, and that's not what these two want to do. So you've got to get players in there who do want to play that kind of style. So no, I think he's done particularly well.
Yep. Well, if you think Hibs are worthy of making a run based on their form, can they get all the way to a European spot? By all means, give us your thoughts on it. Motherwell hoping to get their cup game on for tomorrow night. The conditions are atrocious. I mean, I was going to go and see Motherwell St Mirren at the weekend. Just didn't happen because of the...
Can I just see how Rangers got their game on the Sunday? Why could Motherwell not got their game on the Sunday?
Well, I think because obviously they've got a cup tie to play on the Tuesday. Suddenly it becomes, 2 games too near, and I'm not sure they'll even get the game on tomorrow night, Hugh.
It might not. I mean, the whole thing, the whole urgency about the Rangers game, of course, was that Rangers are running out of midweek dates. I mean, it sounds madness, but the price that's been paid for the midweek or the mid season break is there's not too many midweeks, and especially when teams are still involved in Europe.
Yeah. Listen, talking about running out of time, Hearts, I'm starting to panic. I've suggested that they're going to avoid the drop, but from somewhere they're going to have to find it. 2-2 against Hamilton Accies. And remember, they started to come back into it once Jamie Hamilton had been sent off again.
Yeah, I said a couple of weeks ago that I thought Hearts would get clear it, but now I'm starting to change my opinion. I'll be honest with you. I just looked and thought when they get Suter back, Naismith, he made a couple of signings. He looked really good against Rangers, real good performance. But I watched the highlights and the back four, how high they play. I was astounded.
Yeah.
So teams are just going to go there, Peter, and play over the top with a bit of pace, and it's hurting them. Fair play to them. They showed a bit to get back in and get a point, but for me, Hearts, they're going to struggle.
I'd hate to be there for the fallout at the end of the season if they go down. I mean, when you talk about a club that could be handed over without any debt and then have the catastrophic scenario, and it is for me, not only for the league, but for Hearts.
Well, you just got it changes everything because your whole budget changes, and and the players. I mean, a lot of players are now on 10-month contracts, so they go. I mean, I was like Barry. I just didn't. I was very relaxed about the Hearts situation. Thought they're playing very badly. Obviously turmoil. But a new boy comes in. Players coming back. Boys coming in. So they've got goals. They've got I mean, if you look at it. I mean, it's not because we're daft. If you looked at it at the beginning of the season and you said Hearts in January will have Boyce and Naismith up front with Ikpeazu on the bench. They'll have, Walker coming back to fitness. They'll have Halkett and Suter in the middle of the defence. They'll have Aaron Hickey at left back. They'll have Washington. You go, well, they may be third or fourth in the league, and they might push Aberdeen.
Look at the table. If you have a look at the table now, I still think it'll be. I'm pushing it here, guys. Hamilton, then St Mirren, and then Hearts by the skin of their teeth. And you know, I think St Johnstone have got more than enough about
they're
them to
out
get
of
out
it,
of it. Ross County, who knows? But that's the way I'm going with it, Roughie. What are you going?
I still think Ross County will slip down just because of their away form. I know they can dig out points at home. I do think our Hearts will get their act together, and I have been quietly impressed with St Mirren in some of the games, and I think they'll be able to get away from them. It's for me.
So everybody's getting away from it.
I tell you, what a game that's going to be on Friday. St Mirren against Hearts.
Oh, unbelievable. You know, it's going to be phenomenal. I think you're absolutely right. I would ask all three of you for a prediction on it, but getting any kind of opinion out of you over the last couple of weeks has been mightily difficult. Roughie, do you want to offer?
I've gone Ross County and Hamilton for me.
Yeah, Ross County and Hamilton.
I'm going to go HR
Yeah.
for bullying in the workplace.
I'm
not giving you a prediction.
In the 21st century, you'll never know how funny that is.
I've started a new group. Instead of Me Too, I'm started the Glasgow one. Me and all.
Me and all. There'll be a few in it with you.
I'm going. If you want a prediction,
no, forget it. No, I'll tell you what. Why bother? You've opened a can of worms. Can't go without obviously mentioning someone who I think is very worthy of comment. Sadly, Harry Gregg passed away. A Manchester United legend and a man not only on the field who produced heroics, but on that fatal day in the Munich air crash, he was what you would call a 100% hero.
Absolutely.
But for the Harry Gregg Foundation, we do sports for young children, no matter what game they play, and no matter how good they are. Those that become great or those that don't make it, the very fact that he has come here to the university, which is so good for the Harry Gregg Foundation, to me that is very, very important.
One legend meets a prince.
I know being a legend, don't want to be.
An absolute legend gone, but not forgotten by any fan of Manchester United. And if you talk about heroes and people that are worthy of a statue, Harry Gregg is certainly worthy of one outside Old Trafford, that's for certain. And again, our condolences to his family. From Roughie and from Hugh MacDonald and Barry Ferguson and myself, Peter Martin, thank you very much for watching the programme. We'll see you all again tomorrow.
Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.